Well, we meet again, people of North Andover. I'm your host, Gabby Griffiths. It is a pleasure to have you all here again for the latest edition of your North Andover Journal. Well, let's flip right into it. Have you or your kids expressed interest in cooking? Well, if you ever wanted to try culinary school, you might just want to check out this amazing place called Taste Buds Kitchen. They have a location at 14 High Street in North Andover. Taste Buds Kitchen is a place where anyone from the ages of 2 to 99 can come in and learn how to cook. From breakfast food to European dishes, with the very personable chef guides helping you into a wonderful world of cooking.
Taste Buds Kitchen is a nut-free kitchen by day. We're a kids kitchen, so we have kids in here as young as 2 years old, and we're an adult BYOB. We say leave the tinies at home, kitchen at night. So we have kids in here as young as 2 that come in and they make cupcakes and donuts with their caregivers, and we have adults in here of all age groups that come in. They cook with us for 2 hours. They're making some great menus, and then at the end they sit down and eat it all and kind of come back again. So this is our Let's Make Dinner series. So this is a series for 8 weeks long. We have kids come in here. There are middles is what we call them. So 9 up to 17 we can see in this kitchen. They come in, they make basically dinner. So it's a dinner time class. It's 2 hours. Today they're making breakfast for dinner actually. So they're making French toast. They'll be making omelets from scratch where they'll be able to make and flip their own omelets. And they'll be making zucchini tots. So they'll do that. They learn a bunch of skills every different week. They come in, they're working with knives, they're working with burners. We give them access to every kitchen tool that they need. And at the end, they get to sit down and have dinner with each other. So we also offer classes for our littles. So they're 2 and up, so they come in the early mornings, usually Saturday and Sunday mornings with a caregiver. They come in, they're making cupcakes, they're making donuts. We have a Valentine's Day cupcake class coming up. Bunch of different things that they can do with their caregivers. For our adult classes, our handmade pasta class, hands down, that is our most popular class. So they're making fresh pasta dough. They turn that into fettuccine and raviolis. They're doing tomato sauce. So they make a fresh tomato sauce. Again, they sit down at the end and eat that. We have a ton of Asian inspired classes. So my favorite is Asian street foods. So they're making beef tacos, they're making a veggie fried rice, and they do a coconut banana cake, which is delicious. Other than that, we've got steakhouse, which is super popular. May is coming up, so we've got Mexican class for Cinco de Mayo. We've got about 30 different adult menus that are rolling out. We roll out new menus all the time. We just rolled out a Rockin' Moroccan theme, which actually came from this kitchen, so we're super excited about it, and that class is filling out. Our motto is whenever school's out, Taste Buds Kitchen is in. So we have our kids camps that we run, so February break is coming up, so we've got that where we have 2 sessions. We have our AM camp and our PM camp. AM is those littles we talked about, so they start at age 5 all the way up to age 9. And then we've got our middles, we call them. We've got the 9 up to that 17 range could be. Usually we see till about 13 or 14. 3 hours long, so they come in, they're sitting in groups together, and then what they do is they start with 3 different recipes. They'll move on to the first one, start to finish, they progress that way. At the end, they get to try what they've made and bring home stuff to their grown-ups if they haven't had the chance to try it. And then we're actually running an advanced teen camp this year, which we haven't done for a while, and that is our 13 to 17, and these are guys who are super serious about cooking, really want to get into the depths of cooking and learn more about that process. So we're running those for 2 weeks at night. It's going to be our Insta Foodies theme and a Travel Around Europe theme, so we're super excited about those as well. We're trying to touch every single avenue. We are actually in the schools as well, so we get a lot of business that way where we travel into the schools. The kids hear about us there, they go home, they tell their parents, they book birthday parties with us. We do a lot of advertising on Facebook, Instagram, we have all of our menus online. The owner herself is really touched in base with the community. We get a lot of referrals that way. And just people who have taken classes with us, word of mouth, and they're like, hey, Taste Buds is great, go take a class with them. And that sort of carries over to our Beverly location as well. Valentine's Day coming up, we're super excited for that. So we have a bunch of caregiver and me classes for our little guys coming up to make donuts, to make cupcakes. So we're super excited to go into spring.
The kitchen is open on weekdays from 8:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. and from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturday, and on Sunday from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Look out on their calendar for any upcoming events in the coming months. Today, we have our North Andover Superintendent, Dr. Greg Gilligan, here to talk about the future plans for North Andover when it comes to its schools, which include school budgets, mental health, and renovation. Let's take a look.
I'm very excited for 2023 here in the North Andover Public Schools. As you may know, I presented the superintendent's recommended budget for next year at last week's school committee meeting. The budget focuses on providing additional support and positions needed for our students as we continue navigating the lingering effects of COVID-19. I encourage you to engage in this process by attending school committee meetings, watching us on North Andover Cable TV, or reading the budget documents posted on the North Andover Public Schools website at northandoverpublicschools.com. Specifically, the school committee discussed the budget at a public hearing on January 19th, and will have a vote to approve the budget on February 2nd. Although the conditions of the pandemic have ended, the impact on students and their learning, as well as their social and emotional well-being, is far from over and remains a challenge. After 2 years of reliance on pandemic-era ESSER grants for support, this funding source is largely ending. Yet the need for the resources these grants provide has not. The inclusion of a little over $1 million in the additional funding in the FY24 operating budget offsets the loss of ESSER grant funding and completes our dependence on funding outside of the operating budget. Next year's budget includes really critical positions for our students: classroom teachers, special educators, English language learner teachers, reading and math interventionists, coaches. We have 2 bilingual parent liaisons in the budget, custodians, social workers and counselors at each level, a school psychologist, and an additional library media specialist. Now more than ever, it is critical that we provide our students with a supportive environment where they can learn to the depth and distance of their abilities, and that our faculty are appropriately supported so they are able to focus on the most important work in our schools, teaching students. Thank you, as always, for your continued support of our work. Happy New Year. I hope you have a great 2023.
I think it's great that schools are thinking more about mental health of students because for far too long it has been neglected. Lastly, for this segment, if you have the time and want a more in-depth detail about these announcements, Dr. Greg Gilligan interviewed Dr. James Mealy, the Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operations. You can see it on CAM-ED, which is on Comcast Xfinity Channel 99 and Verizon Fios Channel 28. The North Andover boys varsity basketball team is playing their way through what looks like to be another successful season. Coach Paul Tanglis' team recently faced their next-door rivals from Andover High School in a game that would prove important to the Scarlet Knights.
The boys varsity basketball team brought their 7-4 record into the Crozier Gymnasium on January 24th as they took on neighboring rival Andover. The electricity was flowing through the crowd as the teams took to the court, and early on, both teams kicked up some sparks of their own. The Scarlet Knights went into the locker room with a 6-point lead. Meanwhile, those in attendance had an extra treat courtesy of the Andover and North Andover Unified basketball teams. The Knights had the lead to start the second half, but their work was far from done. When it was all said and done, the Knights came away with a 20-point victory. North Andover 62, Andover 42. The Golden Warriors fell victim to the Zach attack, as junior co-captain Zach Walensky led all North Andover scorers with 26 points, and sophomore Zach DeRochers added 8. Senior co-captain Jake Denny also tossed in 17 for the winners. That win puts Coach Paul Tanglis' squad at 8-4, with 8 games left to go in the regular season.
Cam Sports is always working hard to bring you North Andover school sporting events. Check out a listing for the latest Scarlet Knights sports coverage, or you can catch it all on our YouTube channel. The North Andover music scene has always been predominantly special in North Andover. 2 years ago, COVID put that life on pause. Unfortunately, the North Andover Music Department took a huge hit from this due to the loss of not fully being able to perform together and live. Thankfully, now with the help from North Andover music teachers in the public schools, parent volunteers, and the North Andover Music Association, we have been able to hit the reset button and bring the music scene back to North Andover. The North Andover Music Association is an incredible organization consistently bringing beautiful music to the North Andover community. They strive to make positive experiences for all students in the music programs of every North Andover public school.
The North Andover Music Association is a volunteer group that supports music in our schools. We support literally every school, public school in the system, from getting a rug for Thompson one year to getting some percussion equipment for Franklin and the middle school. And we not only support financially by buying things, we also support with volunteer hours, with advocating for music in our school system, which isn't really hard because everyone sees the value of it. We don't have to do a lot of advocating. But we have been named, I believe, 5 years running, a best community for music education by a national association. So we're doing it right here, and we just want to be the booster club for all the music programs in town.
Throughout COVID, all of the music groups had to take a step back from getting to perform and share their art in the way that we were all used to. But now, 2 years later, they are finally getting back into the swing of how things used to be. We caught up with North Andover High School Chorus Director Sarah Durkin and Director of Bands Justin Smalley to hear how they are transitioning back to normal performances, competitions on the state and national level, fundraisers, and more.
We have a really exciting year planned, and last year it was so great to be back and just doing the things that we normally were able to do before COVID, and like doing our concerts again and being able to compete both on the state and on the national level. So it's something we were really honored to be able to do again and to do well again, you know. And the kids were so excited to get back at it and to just make the program into what they dreamed it could be, and like revive that. And so we're in year 2 of that, and making it into something super special.
We're happy that we're kind of back to normal, if we can call it that. We started in late August with our traditional week-long band camp for our marching band. And that's going extremely well, extremely well. We've had a couple of performances at our football games. We're looking forward to our 3, we're doing some MICA events this year versus our NESBA events. Similar in the fact that there's other bands involved, it's just that there's a different scoring rubric, which we think fits our band a little bit better. So we're excited about that. The kids are really jumping in and enjoying the show this year. It's called Element. It's based on fire, wind, water, and it's going extremely well. We're also super excited that We've kind of changed things around a little bit with the band, where the marching band is an extracurricular activity now. So it gives kids that didn't necessarily want to do that, they can still be involved in the band with the symphonic band and wind ensemble. We're also excited the music department's traveling this year again to Chicago, hopefully, pending final approval from the school committee. So last year we did a minor trip to Boston, so this year we're excited to get the whole music department back to traveling, away from North Andover to the Festival of Gold in Chicago. So we're really, excited that we're back to doing all the things that we used to do.
Of course, the struggles spanned beyond just the high school, which is why we went over to the middle school and spoke to chorus director Andrea Leokis and middle school band co-director Matt Ignos to get an insight on the effects COVID had and how they are getting the momentum moving again in their music department.
COVID was obviously a difficult scenario for just about everybody. We were outside in the tents for a while. Band kids got to come in a little bit sooner than the chorus kids did, but we were singing and playing 10 feet apart, then followed by 6 feet apart. A fraction of the kids were in the room, so it really made things difficult. Singing is a super vulnerable experience for middle schoolers in general, and to not have that safety in numbers was really challenging. But our current 8th grade class, they will not be surprised to hear me say this. In 6th grade and 7th grade, they were definitely a thorn in my side. In 8th grade, they have started to turn the corner. They are not facing any of the obstacles that COVID threw at us. And they are hands down one of my favorite classes to work with now. The growth they have had is tremendous. 7th grade, awesome. 6th grade, also awesome with that typical 6th grade energy. So they are kind of, reinvigorating the program after such a huge loss for a couple years.
Now that we're kind of through a good portion of it, we're starting to kind of see things come back some. Last spring we were able to make it down to the elementary schools and talk to them about the music offerings, which we haven't been able to do in the past during COVID. We're happy to see that our 6th grade numbers are kind of back where they were pre-COVID, up over 100 student musicians playing. And the biggest thing kind of starting last year and continuing into this year is just getting our performances back, our concerts, to have those groups back on stage again and get them excited about just playing together and working on those different skills. And you get the feeling you're on stage with this large group of people, and you're all, you're working towards that same goal. You're working as a team. You're making moments, and you're doing it in front of a large audience.
The adversity the North Andover Public Schools music departments had to face during COVID was challenging, but ultimately it has only made them stronger. They've been making incredible strides to get back to normal and fill our town with music once again. The North Andover Music Association has gone above and beyond to showcase their support. After speaking more with each music teacher, we heard firsthand how the importance of volunteering and parental support for the kids on all levels is extremely significant to these programs. In volunteering your time with the North Andover Music Association, we can get North Andover music programs back to where they used to be and better.
What's really great about our music program in the town of North Andover is we have the North Andover Music Association. So how that's different than a lot of places around here is that it's not just a booster club for the high school band or a booster club for the high school choir. It's something that it's an organization that finds it to be really important to support music at all levels, not just at the high school. So they helped raise money to buy a piano for the middle school. They've bought instruments for the elementary school. They support music at all levels. Knowing that that's where it all starts, right, at the elementary school level, and in order to be able to get those kids to grow, we have to support it down at the elementary schools as well. And so the North Andover Music Association, obviously there's parents involved at the high school level, but we need parents at all levels to be able to help out, because the Music Association does support students at all levels. And so the more support we have from the middle school and the elementary school too, the more we know about what the needs are and that we can help give them what they need.
I definitely encourage anybody now to volunteer for North Andover Music Association. With COVID and over the past few years, a lot of these organizations have been depleted and have relied heavily on the participation from fewer and fewer people. So, you know, we always say many hands make light work. So any little thing you can do to help and support these organizations, because music is strong here in North Andover, and your students and your kids are going to have music from kindergarten, you know, the opportunity all the way up through the high school. So it's hard sometimes being at separate, you know, you have separate elementary schools and then you're not there the whole time, you know, in middle school for 3 years and then the high school, but music is something that is common for their entire educational career here.
So the North Andover Music Association is a really important piece of music in the town at all levels. They are just extremely supportive of us when we need to ask for assistance for something, whether that is manpower for chaperoning or fundraising. They're always reaching out for how they can be helpful here at the middle school. So I know that high school tends to have the most volunteers, the most presence for those programs, but I would encourage elementary parents, middle school parents to get involved and see how they can help out in their levels.
If your child is in music in the middle school or high school, it's likely you will get an email from or some kind of communication from your music director giving you opportunities to volunteer and help. So if you don't get any communications from your music directors, we do have a website. It's called www.northandovermusic.org, and we put all of our announcements for volunteer support and all of the things we are supporting there. So you can always find it updated weekly with the information that we have.
Music programs in school systems have been proven vital over these years. With all of the incredible support from teachers, parents, and the North Andover Music Association, we've been able to make the music representation in North Andover so strong. But what it really all comes down to is the kids and the power of expression through music. These music programs are more than just an extracurricular activity. They offer a chance for connection, friendships, and growth.
What's really great about North Andover, and I see like the end product of it, is where I am so blessed to be able to have 125 kids that want to sing with me every day. And that's just in my choirs during the school day. There's also some kids that can't fit it in that do men's choir after school. So we end up really having about like 140 kids in the choir program. And that's not just something that starts just at the high school. That's something that has started at the elementary levels and has worked its way up. It's something that the elementary school teachers and the middle school teachers have done an outstanding job of cultivating that love for music and that passion for wanting to do music more, and fostering that within the younger students is how they want to continue. So when the time they get to the high school, we have so many kids in the band, we have so many kids in the choir, we have 10% of the school is in the choir program. We have like 15% of the whole school that's in the music department during the school day. So obviously that's huge, and that's not typical at other places.
One of my favorite things about this middle school age group is just seeing the growth and the progress. I say it every year for the 6th grade, especially, you know, from September when, you know, 98% of the kids don't know how to put their instrument together, let alone make a sound or hold it correctly, to even just January when they have their first concert, and they're playing full band arrangements with the other grades. It's incredible to see those moments when you start making those musical moments, and you see them in class kind of like look around or like they smile, and you know that they just had that same moment that you just had in front of them, feeling that music. And by the end of 8th grade year, it's like you wish you could hold on to them another year, because you know they're at that point where you can just really, you know, make great music with them.
In the North Andover Public Schools, we have a music program that begins in kindergarten with our music directors that teach with starting out with just singing and then also using some percussion by 5th grade. In 3rd grade, we have the opportunities for community programs where kids can go to the Kittredge School before school and do a 45-minute lesson, group lesson with a concert at the end of the year. The Music Association promotes that by offering stipends to kids who want to do that. We can pay for those lessons for you. At the middle school, you can choose band or choir for all 3 years, and we find that the kids that stick with that and then come up to the high school have a great experience, not only education-wise and what they've learned, but also having the camaraderie of all of the other kids that have made those choices too. And the amount of friendship that grow out of making music together is just extraordinary.
Are you interested in getting more involved with North Andover News? Do you know any local organizations, businesses, or people who would love to have their stories heard? Impart them our way. Here at the Journal, we are always looking for opportunities to showcase everyone who helps make North Andover the spectacular town that we are. So if you have any exciting ideas or news, please let me know by emailing me at the link below. Thanks again for joining us. As always, I'm Gabby Griffiths, and from all of us here at the Journal, thank you for letting us entertain you with this episode.